friends, this is Manoj Agrawal from Banking Frontiers. Today I am here with Nikhil Rathi. He is the co-founder and CEO of Web Werks. Web Werks is a data center company that has played a major role in India. Recently it got a big funding of $150 million from Iron Mountain. So congratulations Nikhil on that investment, on that inflow. We look forward to hearing from you how you see the financial sector and this data center sector, particularly Web Werks, work together, create value for each other and benefit everyone. So I'm really happy to meet you and look forward to an insightful interaction.
Thank you for having me, Manoj. I'm looking forward to share more input on Web Werks and Iron Mountain Data Centers joint venture.
Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you. When a prospective customer comes to you, what kind of things are they looking for from what kind of services, what kind of solutions, what kind of problems do they ask of you to solve?
So, as a data center and private cloud player, we see a commonality between generally all the customers asks, right? And that is the reason why they select us in the first place. I mean, you go to a jeweler, you actually go for jewelry, right? So that's the fundamental ask. The same way, if someone comes to us as a data center provider, I think the first most important thing that they're looking for is the fact that how critical and mission critical is capabilities that we have. So in terms of data center, we're tier 3 certified with tier 4 components kind of that. So in terms of power and generally power, tech, telecom, people, can we run their mission critical applications 24/7? That's what they're looking at. That's the first priority that whether it's an enterprise, whether it's financial, that's all our customers come to us for that. Right? The second important thing is the security component, right? That they look at. So in terms of security, they look at the physical security. Are we providing? Because remember I mentioned about on-prem, right? When you're moving it on, you may not have great security on-prem, but when you're moving it out to somebody else, you want the top security over there. So in terms of security, in terms of physical security, the data center provides that physical security. They look for, let's say, some of them are finance and banks, they're very particular. They want to have even inside our secure premises, they want to have further security. So they will put their own cage or they will have their own suite. Correct? So over there, again, we have top of the line compliances that we actually meet up with, like PCI DSS for transaction processing, which is a minimum compliance required if you're doing any transaction. So as a data center provider or a private cloud, which they can deploy at our place, right? That compliance is available. So this is the second most important thing: physical security, and then digital security in terms of meeting the minimum required PCI DSS and stuff. The third is compliance by itself. Are you compliant with the ISO 27001 standards, or is your process 9001 certified? All of that. SOC, right? Finance companies would want SOC 1, SOC 2 compliance. So we're absolutely there with all of these compliances. In fact, our JV partner, which is Iron Mountain Data Centers, has the top compliance worldwide in terms of all of these compliance regulatory requirements, because they serve federal government, for instance, right? So because of that, and I think the fourth most important thing is, can we provide them reliable disaster recovery? Right? And I'll come back quickly to these, because we've had case studies of customers actually come to us. A customer usually buys insurance once he realizes, right, that he needed insurance, right? Only when a catastrophe happens. And then we've seen most of our customers, in India, come to us for that particular reason as well. So the disaster recovery component becomes critical. A customer sets up, you've seen an example of a large bank also, right, which had banking systems, but the banking system went down. So RBI actually clamped down, and their disaster recovery systems didn't pick up. Or rather, they actually probably didn't have a proper disaster recovery plan or process or data center in place. So when you see how disruptive not having this DR and drill and all becomes, it becomes essential for a provider like us to come in with all of this as an option, and most of it also in terms of compliance is mission critical, and all of these three things met. So we've had clients who've had primary sites with us, And then they realized that, once something went wrong with their application and, they realized, oh, we did not have this protection. What do we do? That's when they came to us and said, guys, can you provide us, a DR setup? And yes, we provide them a DR in another seismic zone like Noida. We've got in Bombay. We provide them in Noida, or we can provide them near DR. Some clients are even more paranoid, so they say, hey, can we have near DR and far DR? So we will provide them primary in Mumbai, near DR in Pune, and far DR. So we've had clients coming and asking us for that. In terms of payment processes, we've got a particular provider who's processing 3,000 merchants. Right, he's got on his platform. I mean, they provide payment gateway services for these guys. 3,000 small, medium merchants, right? And for them, again, PCI DSS became key. So the fact that we are meeting PCI DSS, that's it. The other part is we're also government METI certified. So, customers who want to deal with the government cloud, GCC components, we already have a lot of government people in government applications running inside our data centers. So the fintech guys or the banking customers, if they are doing it, they're doing it on the local LAN, literally. So, we want to be keeping it local. And that's another advantage that we bring on the table for clients. So this is just the 4 minimal things that people need. But then we come in with our ecosystem play, with the exchanges and stuff and things like that. So those give them a further advantage and they make a very big difference in how efficient they are and how quickly they can process things and how many more services can be added to their customers and to their systems as well.
So the big picture appears to me that they have real problems for which they need solutions that they cannot build in-house, whatever they do. So they have to work with experts and partners out in the field who give them these various pieces, maybe one singly or as a suite, as a group.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
But the data center
makes it life easier then.
The data center is the single location you can get all of these clubbed in. Okay, it is the place. I would compare it to a club, right? You can swim, you can play badminton, you can play racket sports, or you can play, tennis, or you can go play cricket or baseball, basket, or whatever.
All options.
Yeah, but if you want to do sports, the club is the place to go. So if you want to have anything digital, the data center is the start of your digital location, right? Put it all there, and that's it. You can do whatever racket sports you want to do from then on. Be a good sportsman.
That's a damn good analogy.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go ahead then. One of the things about the financial sector is they no longer work in isolation and serve their customers. They're working with retailers, they're working with creating agencies, they're working with data providers, they're working with so many other partners, merchants, retailers, whatnot. So how do you see WebWorks being some kind of enabler of all of this ecosystem of interconnectivity?
So this is the most interesting part, and I've been touching on my part of the other parts that I was talking about so long. So the ecosystem is the key. A place that provides you that ecosystem is where you want to be, right? So think of it like a location, right? A junction, a railway junction, where all trains terminate. Would you like to have your store there so that you can piggy bank on all the others? You just gave so many providers, payment gateways and data providers and cloud price and everything. So a data center is the location. Choosing your right data center partner is actually very, very critical, because that will decide whether you will be able to leverage and take advantage of the ecosystem or not. Let's just think about what the ecosystem really, what we're talking about here.
Okay.
The first part is the connectivity, which is multiple telecom providers, right? WebWorks has 180 telecom providers connected to it, right? Because we have 3 internet exchanges located at our place. National Exchange, DKIX, which is the world number 1, and then XTREMAX, which is local exchange. 3 internet exchanges. When we talk about 3 exchanges, that means we also have cloud providers in our data center, multiple cloud providers, right?
Okay.
Which provide various levels of different services, right? So what happens is, these exchanges act as a node for traffic to move between providers and places, right? That's why I called it a railway junction, correct? So if a particular area, let's say Dadar in Bombay, for instance, right? That Dadar becomes the data center, and the other station becomes the exchange where all the trains are moving from all over.
Okay.
Would you not want to put your stuff into that train which travels up north and also goes south? One place to load your stuff in, and all the heavy lifting is taken care of by the train, which is the traffic path. Correct? The rail line and the train is the traffic path. So the exchanges are key to the ecosystem. Now, how does that really give you an advantage? Assuming that a particular customer, like we've got a number of them, and we will give you an example of one particular customer wanted to have connectivity into Azure, AWS, Oracle Cloud and Google Cloud. Google for the GPU, Azure because he had his Dynamics APIs and stuff running over there, right? AWS because he wanted to use some APIs which are related to processing and sending S3 mail and stuff like that, S3 object storage and stuff, which they were using for some data store, when they had campaigns and stuff running, right? Oracle Cloud because they were on Oracle Financials, right? So they were using Oracle. Now, when all of this was available over one single connection, so all they did was they co-located our location, they put their equipment at our place, right? And there was one fiber connection going into an exchange. From that exchange, they were able to, over a single port, they were able to connect to all of these providers. Now, when you talk about data providers, right? Here we've solved a big problem for them. One cable solves all. Correct? Now, even if you wanted one, that's fine. And these are, now we're not talking about 10 Mbps, 20 Mbps. We're talking about fiber speeds of 10 Gbps and above. Correct? So think of how much data you can move on that. Think of how many services you can consume on that. Think of how much data you can push on that. Now, this customer also wanted to have some bursting traffic, which means he wanted, on the end of the month, let's assume that he was processing, and just for the matter of example, I'll say human resource application, which needs to process payroll for about 25,000 employees, right? When he was processing that, it would take up a lot of consumption. So he would push some of that, and all the people would come and check that. Oh, where's my Form 16? What's my pay slip? So that moment, right, there's too much of capacity required. So he can upscale his bandwidth at our place where his employees locally are checking. Now, if an employee is sitting in Guwahati, a Guwahati ISP is connected, 180 ISPs connected into our data center. That guy is coming one path, one hop straight into our location, and that makes a very big difference because the experience is totally different. You're not boggled down by undersea cable cuts and this and that. It's all here, in there, and your connectivity. The second part, when he wants to use the higher processing power, right, he can just order trigger or fire up a virtual machine at or EC2 instance and AWS, and then just use that, consume it, shut it down, come back to his fixed equipment. If he doesn't need it, don't order it. So your total cost of ownership is fixed. You know how much predictable spends that you're doing inside the data center. That's the beauty. The ecosystem allows you to not just scale, but also make sure that you can actually control and predict your costs of operations. And the data center is the location which provides all of this. It's that rich ecosystem, the subsystem that is there. And like I earlier said, not just these things, you can also leverage our data center interconnect that we have to sync up your disaster recovery location. Correct? You have two data points, you want to back up over here, you can back up. You want to keep an active database, you can do active. The possibilities are just immense on using this ecosystem. Everyone connected inside, so your data moves smoothly, right? Exchanges are taking care of that. If your user moves from one ISP to the other, that's also not a problem, correct?
Interesting.
Because
I think we should coin a new term. It's a data junction. Does that make sense?
Yes, but we like to call it ecosystem.
Ecosystem.
Because the ecosystem allows for symbiotic growth of everybody. The finance guys comes in, right? We also have, I think we have RBI or NPCIL also connected into these exchanges, so people can actually jump off. And I think Visa is also now connected to the exchange, so that makes a very big difference, right? You could connect over a secure line straight into Visa. So the ecosystem is all that matters.
Very powerful.
Junction enables the ecosystem.
Junction. So ecosystem, the one level up.
Is bigger. The data center is the ecosystem, right? It's the place where it's sustainable and everything grows together. You run your transaction, your bank runs its transactions, somebody else comes in somewhere else, right? He wants a payment gateway, wants to use UPI, connect straight into this. or wants to connect to UPI, he does it over the one link. It's all happening inside the data center. On top of it, the exchanges have connected 4-5 other data centers. So from there also you can jump on, right? And our customers can take advantage of customers in the other facility, and that facility can take advantage of our customers. So that's why I said it's a thriving ecosystem. Like, I wouldn't even say it's related only to WebWorks, but WebWorks is the most carrier and content dense location in India. We were ranked
I guess that's
by design, but we've created that ecosystem. We allowed it to flourish. While other providers have been more focused on just collocate, we've actually developed that ecosystem, and we were ranked number 4 in 2019 in Asia. Of course, now the Singaporeans and all have taken up, and Hong Kong has beaten us. But at some point in time, ranking number 4 on the Asia chart in terms of the number of connectivity, I think it speaks a lot about us, right? And this is.
Are you adding more connectivity? Or?
Absolutely, all the time. All the time. We have new carriers coming in from other. I mean, for that instance, if your customer is located in Sri Lanka, we have Sri Lankans connected. If your customer is located in Nepal, we have Nepal. We've got about 6 Nepalese providers connected. We've got Bangladeshi providers connected inside. Why do they come to us?
Nepal.
Yes. And why do they come to us? Because they want to pick up Indian content and take it to Bangladesh. And they will maintain that connectivity. So again, you want to serve Bangladesh, you can do it from our data center using that connectivity which that guy has paid for. And he's going to keep it running because it's mission critical for him.
So you're leveraging that network effect. The more the network you have, the wider, the more beneficial it is for everyone.
Absolutely.
And the financial sector then benefits from it.
And this only grows. It's like a snowball. It's a snowball effect. Everybody keeps growing.
Fantastic. That's interesting. That's a new angle to look at the data center and business opportunities. Cool. So Nikhil, thank you for all those wonderful insights. It's really exciting to know that there's so much synergy between the financial sector and the data center segment. And there's such a huge roadmap ahead, such an interesting roadmap ahead for all the digital transformation journey that's going to continue happening. I think this all kinds of customers and players can look forward to some exciting times ahead. So thank you very much, Nikhil.
It's been interesting, very interesting talking to you, Manoj. Excellent. Thank you.